What's going on? It's Justeeni here, and today I've got my 1,000 subscriber special. I know I'm a little bit late. The game took a bit to finish. But this is a 1v2, and not just against anyone. This is against Mystic Crater and Leon. I'll have both of their channels linked in the description, and this is just going to be normal lakes, embassies banned for them, of course. It's going to be Barter versus Xin-xi and Yadek. We agreed to that matchup because we thought it'd be pretty fair. Let's just get right into things. So, my spawn's pretty nice. I find my village and I'm forced into organization. A little unfortunate. But, I mean, after this point, yeah, I workshop here just because, like, first off, I want a lot of economy, and second off, the Explorer is risky. It could just go the wrong way. I find Yadek, which this is extremely early to meet Yadek. It's not actually ideal. I'd rather have a little bit of time to develop and do things. But I can maybe interact with Yadek. It's especially unfortunate meeting Yadek specifically early because they can defend themselves pretty well. They've got warrior spam with roads, which kind of just deals with this, but I'm gonna try to pressure anyway because it's just gonna be annoying to deal with. Capture some cities, do what you do. I get an explorer, it actually goes the right way and reveals everything I could ever want, except for the lighthouse, of course, but it's fine. Just trading some more units at this point, and I'm able to snag some nice kills. I get another explorer here, which I don't know what I was thinking with that one. It worked, I guess. It wasn't very good. This is pretty old. Like, this is like the game finished recently, but it started months ago, so that's why it took so long. I go for the siege idea. I remember I actually spent a lot of time planning this. The idea is that this really sucks for Yadek to defend. As in, they have to get climbing, and that's the only feasible option. Because this warrior's really troublesome. They could, alternatively, if they don't want to get climbing, place 2 roads. Which is kind of basically like, yes, it costs a lot for me to siege, but they have to buy climbing, and they are never buying climbing here. So this siege is actually worth it despite me sacrificing a few units. And I believe, no, I didn't have any veteran riders, but I don't think I sacked any actually important units. And yep, they get climbing, and also they have to retreat this rider awkwardly. I get a fishing rune, which isn't actually bad. I can use that. I'm just kind of building up units. I can't really road into them. I do meet Xin-xi now, so it's part of the 1v2 where I actually have to fight 2 people and I'm at a disadvantage, and it's good for the content, right? I will say, while I am in first by a good amount, this is by no means an easy win at all, despite the fact that my spawn's actually quite good. You can see Yadek's relegated to not very many cities, but Xin-xi is completely alone and has all the time in the world to develop, so it's not like I can just sit here and just do nothing and then win the game that way, because I will inevitably get attacked on 2 fronts, and it's gonna kind of suck. And it's very hard to attack into Yadek. They've got rider roads. So, yeah, this is a pretty tricky situation. And we can even see Yadek roading in, most likely for another village, pressuring me, which I don't think this pressuring is actually very good. This was definitely a mistake on their part because, well, I just defend. You can, again, as Yadek, you can just play defense and just sit there. And Xin-xi, you can just build up because, you know, 2 players are going to be able to do more than just one. You'll most likely have more combined city count, and with Xin-xi being completely alone here, and I only have 2 cities for naval access, it's pretty easy to just develop here as Jin. It's just Yadek that needs to really bunker down, but Yadek attacking like this really limits your options. And then there's also just some micro mistakes that I'm trying to take advantage of. I do get roads, so now I can really just deal with that offensive no problem. And I'm able to get my giant. I do kind of have my tech situation good to go at the moment, so I can spend a lot of time developing now. Place my Park of Fortune here. This is like some really long-term planning again. I do want to take this somewhat seriously. It's a 24-hour game and it's a 1v2. So I'm trying to be precise with my placements and my chopping and all that. There's definitely a lot of mistakes I made, but I did decent, I guess. I get an Explorer here. This Explorer, it's okay. I mean, yeah. I do some connections. I actually upgrade with the Grand Bazaar here. I have Forestry, but I do it with the Grand Bazaar because I was going to place this anyway. And if I'm going to place the Grand Bazaar anyway, then why do I need to place the Lumber Hut now when I can level this city up to level 3 for free rather than spending 3 stars? So some little optimizations there, because everything does count again. This is not easy to play. Again, Yedek is now actually correctly bunkering up on defense, and they've got a giant. And Xin-xi, I can only assume, is continuing to build up. And I'm just doing the same. And I can try to guess how many cities they have. It looks like, well, Yedek has 4. Xin-xi most likely has bad density, so even though it initially looked like a lot, they might only have 4 as well, which means I'm down 2 cities. But that might turn into 1 if I can get this, which it's not ideal, but it's something. It's very workable. And I'm just gonna essentially try to say here, yes, I'm down in cities, but I'm gonna micro better. And then I see a bomber, which here's the thing with the bomber is, oh, it's a bomber, that means I'm not getting in the water easily, which kind of sucks because I wanted to get this giant in the water. But at the same time, what this bomber tells me is that Xin-xi is not developing. They can be going org, farming, smithery, you name it, develop like crazy, get a bunch of giants and throw those all in, or maybe get trade because they can absolutely afford to just sit back and do that. But no, they got bombers. They're trying to attack me, which kind of tells me, again, they're not up enough cities to just say, I win the late game. Yeah, they finally make peace again. Making peace is fine. It's just the embassies that aren't. And yeah, I get an Explorer Ruin, kind of sucks. I didn't funnel it. But yeah, they're going to siege. I'm just going to defend it. I've got plenty of riders. They don't have a giant attacking me yet. I'm going to put my own giant in a boat. Get my 7th city, so I'm only down 1 city. And I'm just developing. I have order growth that's going to set up some market spots later, because I already planned all of those. Like, I planned it, I'm pretty sure, before I got my first giant. And yeah, Xin-xi's got rammers. Like, they're going for the total naval control while Yedek's just bunkering down. This seems to be the game plan here. And it's pretty effective, actually, because, well, this is not easy to break through. Like, this is really hard to break through, and this pressure is a little annoying. It's just depriving me of economy, and it's really hard for me to get in the water. Fortunately, I can bring my giant in and get a juggernaut, and what's really huge here is I'm threatening to just siege, and how does Yedek actually unsiege this? There's a Park of Fortune here. That means they've got Gate of Power available to them. And then they have to get like Forestry to pop the giant, which means if I were to block one of these, I can't. And even if they can pop the giant, then I can just re-siege. Like, you just saw me by math. I can just make a catapult. Which I don't have to do this turn, I can wait a turn to do that. I actually just end the turn with 8 stars. And yeah, they're just preparing to unsiege by just brute force. And again, the pressure. So like, all these things I have to deal with. I keep putting my Juggernaut in and out of the water, which looks so weird, but like, there is a method to this madness. Like, I see a rammer here and I just want value, and I know that they have a bomber that's gonna shoot my Juggernaut. So I I should move it away to safety. It gets some free splash value. And yeah, there's the first catapult. Not actually over here because, again, I can't siege. I just moved this here to bully their riders, because if I can block their riders off, they can't use those to help unsiege. And yeah, this catapult's just going to help me unsiege this without having to use any riders, or if they siege with a defender, it's less costly, or if they inevitably, I expect them to get a giant at some point, so this is also preparing for that. Can they damage this with a scout? Absolutely. Does that leave their scout vulnerable to die? Also yes, which is why I'm doing this, because, like, yes, they can damage my catapult, but it's not going to be to their benefit. And yeah, the bomber shots are quite annoying. Xin-xi is just trying to gain some value on me by sieging and all that, but they are very, very slow to develop. But it is slowing me down as well, but not enough, because now I get trade. And at this point, after I get trade, this is where things really start to turn around, because I also get the siege that I wanted, and the riders are blocked. And in addition, trade's gonna basically solves all my problems here, because these sieges were a problem, it deprives my economy, and then Yadek's defense was a problem, I just can't break through it. And now both problems are solved. I am breaking through Yadek's defense, and the sieges aren't a problem because, well, I just have more economy. And yeah, I, again, block this forced as well. I believe they can kill this, but if they unsiege, I have the catapult ready, you know, as I mentioned before. They are oh so close to unsieging. There might have actually been a way to unsiege. I'm too lazy to check. It's very close, but I can also re-siege if I really wanted to. But after capturing this, things really start to look up for me, because now instead of being down a city in the long term, I'm actually up a city in the long term, assuming, again, Xin-xi is only at 4 cities, which after seeing that border growth, they most likely are. And I'm just developing my markets. I don't see any markets I don't even see a forge from Xin. So I haven't even seen a giant from Xin-xi. Well, there's the first one, turn 19. Taking forever. I'm trying to get my own naval presence here. It's not exactly working out. I finally get sailing on turn 20. And I'm trying to get something going. And I'm getting some good ground presence here. This catapult has a lot of potential to be annoying. And essentially, again, my game plan is, well, I'm just pushing here. That is little big. Oopsie daisies. Yeah, that's good. Okay. But I've got a few avenues of attack. I can try to get a port here and do something. Maybe. It's a little tricky. I don't have a lot of naval access here, so I'm really mostly just hoping that Yadek crumbles ASAP, and that's my main win condition. But if I can distract Xin-xi as well, that's also pretty good. The issue is, how do I siege Yadek? They've got a defender, and they have a naval presence of their own. I need a tanky unit to land in and do some real damage. I also need a plan for this juggernaut. This is actually the much simpler thing to deal with. Like, they're sieging this turn. Scary stuff. Yes, but I get climbing. I see the mine. I don't get it for the mine, of course. I get it because I know Xin-xi is climbing, and you guys already know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to poof for the content. Or actually, I don't do it here because I can't afford it. But there might be another one later. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I just simply use brute force there. I see the mine though, and I know that if they send another juggernaut, I can just poof it, because I can actually afford to do it at some point later. My economy is just continuing to go up. And yep, even more market stuff. I start to misplay a lot at this point, mostly because I was trying to do my turns ASAP so that I could just get this going. Because at this point, I felt like I was just winning, which that's because I am winning. Yes, this naval battle against Xin-xi looks a little rough, but like, it's just a matter of time before Yadek falls, and that's gonna be that. I just need to get a giant, and I take an unnecessarily long time to do that. I'm able to clear things out slowly but surely. A good strategy. Defenders are pretty nice here. And yeah, they're buying time. Really, the best bet is that Xin-xi can do something. If they can take one of these cities over here, this should probably be their primary target because this is very hard for me to defend. But we'll kind of see what they do. So I'm just continuing to defend. Just punish any overextended units. Just, again, if I can get any good trades, I'm going to take it. It's just going to further build upon my advantage. I'm trying to get some rammers to stick in the water because I really want that naval presence. Yet still holding on because, like, my catapults keep failing to do their job because I keep training them in the wrong spots. There's some bombers, another rammer siege, but again, I have the catapult that I positioned ages ago. That's just getting tons of value. Then I get farming. Now I can get some giants going. I even get a giant down south, so I don't have to worry so much about that anymore. It's just gonna, again, allow me to win the game. It's not gonna be immediate. It's a slow and steady conversion. Again, there's not a lot to talk about here at this point. I know that Mystic timed out a bunch, which is like half the reason why this took forever. I didn't want to end this in an anticlimactic way, like, oh, they got kicked because they timed out and then I won because of that. Like, you guys gotta see the poof for the content, of course. See, it's very easy to set up only 3 tiles I need to cover. It's really just the star cost that's a problem. And then I'm just covering, like, I just have all my bases covered. I'm not going to do anything. Oh no, they siege me here. Whatever will I do? I can unsiege this just fine. It's just smithery, and that's it, yeah, because it's a level 2 forge. And yeah, I have markets. I can afford whatever I want. My catapult gets hit again because I keep... This one isn't actually poorly trained because it's hard to reach now. It's just going to be taking some time to recover. But once I finally break through the defenders, get some sword spam, and then maybe follow it up with knights, then that's that. I, for some reason, don't upgrade my capital for way too long. That mine was just sitting there. I just kept spending all my stars. Again, I'm just playing through my turns super fast. And like, my advantage is building. I'm gaining an extra tech just every turn, and that extra tech is helping me advance my game plan further and further. So things are steadily improving. Yes, there's more bombers, more naval dominance here, but this naval dominance in the south isn't gonna do all that much. I'm just defending. These turns start to get really long. This is a normal map, by the way. It's pretty rare for normal map games to go this long, but that's how things went here. Yeah, stuff gets traded. It's really hard for my giants to survive, which is why this just takes forever. And it doesn't help with my really questionable micro. But at least I can get another giant. And then another giant. And yeah, they just do their thing. It's not the most interesting. I'll just kind of skip it. Like, yeah, I'm winning here. I get knights. I eventually break through. On turn 30, this is completely unbreakable. They do not have the monuments. Definitely not the resources to unsiege. And I am just ripping through everything. Once either of these cities fall, it's just going to be even easier. I'm going to establish more naval presence and be able to wrap my knights around, and everything will just be trivial at this point. So they finally resign, throw in the towel. But yeah, that's the 1v2 that took forever to get done. But I think it was a pretty interesting game, at least like the first, like, I'd say 20 turns. There's some nice things, you know, lots of planning with the markets and all that. I think it was interesting enough that it was actually the aggression of both sides that was their downfall, because if they both just kind of sat back and gathered their advantage, then maybe things would have turned out differently. But hope you guys enjoyed. Like and sub, and have a good one.